Dealing with corrupt contractors, unreliable contractors, expensive contractors, or contractors who do sloppy work, and even contractors that will literally show up on the first day, take your deposit, and never come back. Yes, this stuff actually happens, and these are legitimate concerns of almost any homeowner in Hawaii looking to either do a remodel or add an addition or build a new home. If you're a homeowner in Hawaii and you've had any work done on your home, you've probably heard these stories, and it can be extremely stressful when it comes to finding the right contractor. So today's video is focused on how to find reliable contractors. Aloha, my name is Chris Shomo. I'm a real estate agent and owner and founder of Home Sweet Home Hawaii Real Estate, brokered by eXp Realty. Welcome back to our channel. Unfortunately, and I really hate to say this, but Hawaii has a reputation for unreliable contractors, and homeowners often deal with incomplete projects, broken promises, or even outright scams. Today, we're covering why it's so important to hire reliable contractors and really how to identify trustworthy professionals who are gonna get the job done right. I'll also share tips, certifications to look for, and websites that can help you avoid costly mistakes. So whether you're dreaming of a kitchen remodel or planning a major addition, stick around because this advice, it's gonna save you time, money, and a whole lot of stress. Now, if you're just getting a toilet installed or the interior of your house painted, then this video isn't for you. This is for the homeowner who's about to drop $100K or more on their home remodel or $800,000 on a new home build on top of the $500K they've already spotted for the land or millions of dollars they spent on their oceanfront lot. With all that said, let's dive right in. Why reliable contractors matter in Hawaii. The stakes are higher in Hawaii. Hawaii has several unique challenges when it comes to home improvement. First, you've got the material costs. Shipping materials to Hawaii is expensive and time consuming. A contractor who mismanages materials or timelines can completely derail your entire project. Also, the labor pool. Although the contractor pool is large here, the pool for reliable contractors is much smaller. And this means the good ones are really in demand and are usually booked out way in advance depending on the size and scope of your project. Unfortunately, unethical contractors know this and they tend to take advantage of desperate homeowners. Another factor here is the unpredictable weather. So delays from heavy rain or storms are really common. A reliable contractor will plan for these potential setbacks, while an unreliable one is just going to leave your project exposed. So the financial risks are real. In working with homeowners over the years, I've seen this more times than I can count. We've even had this happen to us with work we had done on our home a few years ago. According to a 2023 report by Hawaii Magazine, 30% of homeowners on Oahu reported being overcharged by contractors, while 20% dealt with incomplete work. Now, honestly, I wouldn't doubt if those numbers are actually much higher, since people aren't really gonna often report when they've gotten burned to save face, right? For an example, one Honolulu family lost $80,000 after their contractor disappeared halfway through a home addition. So that kind of thing we see a lot of times, unfortunately. The issues with bad contractors really stack up fast. So maybe they do shoddy work or use low quality materials, even though the contract might specify the materials that they're gonna be using, or they make expensive mistakes that they refuse to take responsibility for to repair it out of their own costs. Now, they might way overcharge or bill inconsistently. One common strategy is they inflate the costs mid-project, if you can believe that, and they may bill improperly without itemization, so that might actually pad their invoices, charging for materials or labor that you're never going to see or use. They could hire unskilled labor but charge the rate of a skilled laborer. That happens. Or they might hire electricians or plumbers who aren't licensed, and that can lead to code violations at the least, but also hazards to the home, yourself, and your family members. Another thing, if they refuse to pay one of their subcontractors, that subcontractor can actually put a lien on your house, on the homeowner's house, which adds pressure to the homeowner to pressure the contractor. but that also puts a cloud on the title to your home. So in the event if you're going to be selling your home, that'll prevent you from selling the house if that issue isn't resolved. A very common issue is that they don't meet their deadlines or start a job and don't finish it. They just don't come back and they stop answering their phone when the homeowner calls. Another one is there may have been a lack of clear communication about the project details, and this can also be the fault of the homeowner as well. So make sure you have clear communication and things in writing from the get-go. Here's another thing that's crazy and very common. If the contractor overbooks their projects and doesn't have the resources, the funds to order the materials, they might use your advance payment to fund a different project, putting your project at risk. Bad contractors might ignore environmental challenges like humidity, the salty air, and heavy rainfall. And then the poor construction can create conditions that encourage mold growth or termite infestations. They may not have sufficient insurance, and the homeowners don't find out until it's too late, and then they find themselves exposed to liability for injuries or damages. Sometimes there's recourse if the proper documentation is in place and the homeowner can take the contractor to court, but other times the homeowner is left out to dry. So with all these concerns, let's get into how to identify reliable contractors. Number one, and it sounds obvious, but you first check the contractor's license. We have Hawaii state license verification, so all contractors in Hawaii must hold a valid license issued by the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, what we call the DCCA. So you can go to the DCCA's professional and vocational licensing website to search for the contractor by name or license number. So you want to confirm if their license is current, active, and not expired, and more importantly, check for any disciplinary actions or complaints on record. Number two is you want to verify insurance, specifically liability insurance. This protects you in the case the contractor damages your property during the project. There's also workers' compensation insurance, and this insurance is going to protect you and make sure you won't be held liable if a worker is injured on your property. So ask the contractor for proof of both types of insurance and contact the insurance company to confirm the policy is actually active. The third thing you want to do is confirm bonding. So contractors should be bonded, and this really provides financial protection if the contractor doesn't complete the project or fails to meet the terms of the contract. So request the bond number and the issuing company, then verify the bonding agency that the bond is actually valid. And here's a side note for you regarding the subcontractors hired by the contractor. You'll also want to check for licensing and bonding for the subcontractors too. So all specialty positions must be individually licensed and insured. And this includes positions like the plumbers and especially the electricians. Another thing you want to do is ask about certifications and the trade associations, because reputable contractors often hold certifications that help to validate their expertise. Now, an example of this is the National Association of Home Builders. We call the NAHB. If a contractor is part of the NAHB, it means they actually have a commitment to industry standards and up-to-date training. Now, there's also LEED certification, and this is for the more eco-friendly or sustainable building practices. We also have the Better Business Bureau, the BBB accreditation. Now, most contractors in Hawaii, they're not going to be on the BBB, but it's worth checking and seeing if they have an A+ rating. But just so you know, a couple other trade associations to check are the Hawaii Building Industry Association and the Associated General Contractors. But just a side note here, if they're not in these reputable trade associations, it really doesn't mean that they're not reliable, but the ones who are members, they're often going to be most reliable. A fourth thing you want to do is vet their reputation. So don't just take their word for it, you've got to dig deeper. So first, I'm going to tell you where to go to vet the reputation, and then I'm going to give you 3 questions to ask. So first, this is going to sound like a no-brainer, but you want to go online and look for reviews. So now in Hawaii, a lot of contractors, they don't have much online presence, but it's worth looking them up anyway to see if you can find anything. And just because they may not have a great online presence, that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad contractors. But go online and check on Yelp, Google Reviews, and Angie's List. Look for anything you can that mentions timelines, communication, integrity, and of course, quality of work. Then you have referrals and references. Word of mouth is huge. Now, the best reference in Hawaii is definitely word of mouth, hands down. But if you don't know anyone, then that's out. So then there are past clients. As far as getting references from past clients, the really good contractors in Hawaii, they stay booked up. and it might be hard to get past client references from them directly. Quite frankly, these good contractors, they just don't need the work, and their reputation on the island keeps them super busy, but you should still ask. And another one is the app Nextdoor. So all that said, a good workaround is to create an account on Nextdoor and search for the contractor in the post to see what neighbors have said about them. You can reach out and ask specific questions about their experience. Now, if you don't know what Nextdoor is, it's a neighborhood social media app. A lot of neighborhoods on Oahu use it, and it can be an excellent resource. You can also just create a post asking if anyone has had experience working with that contractor, that they might be willing to share their experience, and see what responses you might get. And if you're able to get past client references from that contractor, just reach out to them directly. Another thing you can do is check the social media. So many contractors showcase their work on Instagram or Facebook, and this can give you an idea of their communication style and also their quality, and you can see pictures, see what people are saying about them as well, if there's a lot of engagement on their posts. Also, when you're online, check out eCourt Kokua, and this is where you can find court records online and look for lawsuits or judgments against the contractor, whether they're past disputes or current unresolved issues with clients. Now, here are 3 questions to ask clients about their experience with a contractor, and it's pretty basic. Number 1 is, was the project completed on time and within budget? Number 2, was the contractor professional and easy to work with? And number 3, did any issues arise, and if so, how were they resolved? Now, number 4, it's really important to demand a detailed contract. I cannot emphasize this enough. The contract is your best defense against misunderstandings or disputes. And the contract, this should include scope of work, it's got to include the timeline, like specific start and end dates, and it's got to include payment terms, right? You want to avoid contractors who ask for large upfront payments. Usually it's 10 to 20% is standard. You'll also want warranties, so make sure their warranties are included for both materials and the labor. Now, at number 5, you want to check the project frequently. So don't assume that when you've done all your due diligence that you can just relax and go back to whatever you're doing while the construction is underway. You definitely need to stay in communication with the contractor and keep a close eye on the work. Go on site from time to time and see what's being done. Track the timeline that you agreed to in the contract and make sure the invoices you receive are what you agreed to. And also ask questions as you go. Don't wait until the end. And make sure the materials being used are the ones that you also agreed to. Now let's get into some basic red flags to avoid. And number 1 is no license or insurance. Now, a handyman might call themselves a contractor but not be fully licensed, but that's okay for small jobs, right? And odd jobs. But when you're dealing with larger projects, you need a licensed contractor. Anything over the cost of, say, $1,000. Now, a contractor who can't provide proof of licensing or insurance is a major red flag. Along with this, you should verify that it's the contractor's name on the license and not an employee's name or some other person. This is super important. And the second thing is you want to keep an eye out for unrealistically low bids. Low bids often mean corners are going to be cut, or the contractor may hit you with surprise costs later. Okay, now let me quickly share some websites and tools to help you find some reliable contractors. I mentioned some of these when talking about where to find reviews and references, but here you go. You've got the Hawaii DCCA license search, and this is where you're going to verify the contractor's license. You've got Google reviews, which is very helpful. And after you find someone with reviews, make sure to still verify their insurance, bonding, and follow all the other tips that we talked about. You've got social media, of course, with Nextdoor, Facebook, and Instagram. We already talked about looking on social media, but we should include it here in this list. And then there's Angie's List. You can search for top contractors there. They may or may not be on there. If they aren't, it doesn't mean that they're not great contractors. And then there's Yelp, where you can read reviews from customers and see their picks. And then there's the Better Business Bureau of Hawaii, and you can check ratings and complaint histories. However, the contractor isn't always going to be on the BBB, and it doesn't mean you should be concerned if they're not. And then there's House, where you can browse portfolios of contractors and remodelers in Hawaii. Again, many contractors in Hawaii won't be on House, so that's not a mark against them. Now let's go through the benefits of reliable contractors, which may seem obvious, but it's a good reminder. The trusted contractor who is proven is actually worth it, even though they may be charging more. And it also gives you peace of mind. You can focus on the excitement of your project without worrying about delays or scams. Also, there will be a much higher return on investment. Quality work pays off when it's time to sell your home. There are also way fewer headaches and far less stress. The reliable contractors handle permitting, inspections, and all the other logistics for you. So permitting in Hawaii, it's a really big deal. And if you want to learn more about the permitting challenges, we have videos on this topic where I actually interview a consultant who's lived and worked in this world for a long time. And we'll give you the links down below. Okay, so just a couple final thoughts on this and a couple recaps. Finding a reliable contractor might seem daunting, but it's worth the effort. By doing your homework, checking certifications, and asking the right questions, you can avoid the common pitfalls of home remodeling in Hawaii. It is definitely worth the due diligence up front. Remember, your home is one of your most significant investments. Protect it by hiring professionals who value integrity and quality. If you're considering upgrading your home to sell it, feel free to reach out. You can give us a call or send us a text or an email. We love it when people reach out who are looking for help with their real estate goals. If you've had experiences, good or bad, with the contractors in Hawaii, let us know in the comments below. And if you have contractors you want to recommend, you're welcome to drop a comment and share your experience with them as well. Mahalo for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tips on home ownership in Hawaii. And until next time, aloha.